Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your one-stop source for deep dives into South African politics, history, and the stories behind the headlines. Today, we are taking you on a detailed journey through the political life of one of the most polarizing figures in modern South African history, Jacob Zuma. Whether you love him or loathe him, one thing is for sure, the man knows how to play the game. He's been called a political chess master, and today we're going to unpack exactly why. From Robben Island to the presidency, and from courtrooms to protest stages, Zuma's legacy is a mix of triumph, scandal, and calculated moves. Let's start from the beginning. Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma was born in 1942 in rural Nkandla, KwaZulu-Natal, the place that would come to symbolize both his humble origins and, later, his controversial wealth. Zuma grew up in poverty. His father died when he was young, and he received no formal education as a child. Instead, he herded cattle and taught himself to read. This modest upbringing, however, shaped Zuma's grassroots political identity and gave him the man of the people image that would become central to his appeal. In the 1950s, Zuma joined the African National Congress, or ANC, and its military wing, Nkandla, during the height of apartheid repression. His involvement in the anti-apartheid movement led to his arrest in 1963 and a 10-year prison sentence on Robben Island, where he rubbed shoulders with the likes of Nelson Mandela. That time hardened his revolutionary credentials and gave him the credibility he'd used to propel himself up the ANC ranks. After his release in 1973, Zuma went into exile, working for the ANC's intelligence structures. By the late 1980s and early 90s, he was a key negotiator in the talks that eventually led to the end of apartheid. His work behind the scenes was critical, especially in mediating conflicts in KwaZulu-Natal between the ANC and Inkatha Freedom Party, a bloody conflict that claimed thousands of lives. That period showcased Zuma's talent for diplomacy and strategy, helping earn him a spot in the ANC's top leadership. In 1994, when South Africa held its first democratic elections, Zuma was appointed to various provincial and national roles, eventually becoming deputy president in 1999 under Thabo Mbeki. But his time in that position would bring his first major scandal. In 2005, his longtime financial advisor, Shabe Sheikh, was convicted of corruption and fraud for allegedly facilitating bribes between Zuma and a French arms company. Mbeki responded by firing Zuma as deputy president, a move that triggered a political civil war inside the ANC. Zuma didn't go quietly. Instead, he launched a nationwide charm offensive, portraying himself as the victim of a political conspiracy. He held massive rallies, visited rural communities, and leaned into traditional Zulu values, even reviving the image of a warrior king. His popularity soared, especially among those who felt excluded by the ANC's elite leadership. In 2007, Zuma defeated Mbeki at the ANC's national conference in Polokwane, becoming the party's president, a stunning comeback that shocked the political establishment. 2 years later, the ANC won the national election, and Zuma was inaugurated as the fourth president of Democratic South Africa in 2009. Zuma's presidency was a mixed bag. On one hand, his administration expanded access to education, healthcare, and social grants. He spearheaded major infrastructure projects like the expansion of power stations and the GO train. His government also introduced the National Development Plan, which aimed to reduce poverty and inequality by 2030. But on the other hand, this era was also defined by growing dysfunction in state institutions, brazen looting of public resources, and a string of scandals that would come to be known as a state capture. At the center of it all were the Gupta brothers, Ajay, Atul, and Rajesh, three businessmen from India who had built a close relationship with Zuma and his family. Allegations emerged that the Guptas had used their influence to control key appointments in government and state-owned enterprises. They were accused of deciding who became ministers, influencing tenders worth billions, and essentially turning the state into a cash machine. These allegations were no longer whispers. They were backed up by whistleblowers, leaked emails, investigative journalism, and eventually a full judicial commission, the Zondo Commission, which exposed in painstaking detail how institutions like Eskom, Transnet, and SAA were hollowed out under Zuma's watch. Despite mounting pressure, Zuma remained defiant. He dodged accountability for years, blaming political enemies, the media, and even foreign intelligence agencies. But as the scandals mounted and the ANC's credibility took a beating, the party finally turned on him. In 2018, Zuma was forced to resign, handing over the reins to his deputy, Cyril Ramaphosa. But if anyone thought that was the end of Jacob Zuma, they were sorely mistaken. Since leaving office, Zuma has continued to fight legal battles, including charges related to a 1990s arms deal. But his biggest legal showdown came when he defied an order to appear before the Zondo Commission. This led to a dramatic constitutional court ruling and a 15-month prison sentence, making him the first former democratic president in South Africa to be jailed. His brief incarceration in July 2021 sparked widespread unrest, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, with over 300 people killed and billions of rands in damages. The chaos revealed just how deep his support still runs, particularly among those who see him as a victim of political persecution. And just when you think he's done, Zuma makes yet another move. In 2023, he threw his weight behind the newly formed Umkhonto we Sizwe, or MK party, a breakaway from the ANC that has since shaken up the political landscape. The ANC tried to block him from campaigning, but Zuma outmaneuvered them in court. With elections looming, he's rallied thousands to his cause, once again proving that he still has pieces on the board. Zuma's story is far from over. He's polarizing, no doubt, hailed by some as a man of the people and condemned by others as a destroyer of institutions. But love him or hate him, Jacob Zuma has reshaped South African politics in profound and lasting ways. His life is a mirror reflecting the country's triumphs, tensions, and unresolved struggles. So, what does Zuma's continued political relevance tell us? It says that South Africa is still grappling with questions of justice, loyalty, identity, and inequality. It says that charisma, populism, and grassroots power can still go a long way in a country where many feel left behind. And it says that in the game of politics, especially in a democracy as young and vibrant as ours, the game is never truly over until all the pieces are off the board. Thanks so much for sticking with us through this deep dive into the highs and lows of Jacob Zuma, the political chess master of South Africa. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth content, and drop us a comment below. What's your take on Zuma's legacy? Is he a hero, a villain, or something in between? See you next time.